You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
And it is for the WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
For the World Heavyweight Championship.
The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
Welcome to another episode of the Rights and Wrongs of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Green, and we are covering episode 5 of WOW Women of Wrestling on AXS-TV. You can watch them every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you want to check your local times for anything outside of Eastern. I would imagine to be 5 or 4 p.m. if it's running at the same time on Pacific. But certainly you want to check and make sure you have that. I have noted that some people said that I don't get AXS-TV. Let me repeat something I said last week as a response to one of the comments that I got. I use Sling when I wanted to watch AXS-TV. I have subscribed to them. That's about $25 a month, so you just make sure that you get the package that has it if you're wanting to get it solely for that. But I would imagine you want to see what other channels you have on there as well. That is not a paid thing. I'm just making a little comment to help some people out. In any case, the WPN, the Women's Pro Wrestling Network's podcast, The Rights and Wrongs of Pro Wrestling. Getting back to the whole point of this deal, it is all about the review. And we don't want to get too far off track because we got some stuff to go through here and get this review going. But before I do that, if you are listening to this for the first time and you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Your support means the world to the growth of this channel. That is for those of you that are listening to this via YouTube. If you are not listening to it via YouTube, you're streaming and you're downloading. Certainly helps. You can listen to this podcast wherever greater podcasts are available, but most definitely on podbean.com. You can go to iTunes. We are there. But the best place for you to go is to go right to the Women's Pro Wrestling Network website, WPNWrestling.com. That will be the nexus for everything. If you scroll down, you will not only see a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week stream of all the videos that we produce, but if you go just underneath that, you will see every podcast that comes up. It goes right to that page. You will not miss a thing. It is like clockwork. So that is one thing for you to do right there. Make sure you check into that. But for those of you that are listening to this via the YouTube channel, your subscriptions mean everything. So if you would subscribe and then not only subscribe but hit the little bell so you get the notifications for when these things pop up, you will not regret it. And more importantly, it will not cost you a dime. Won't cost you anything except your time to do it. And same thing for everybody with the MP3 versions on the Podbean and whatnot. Won't cost you anything to do it but just to subscribe. And that is all it takes. So anyhow, for those that have enjoyed the show, both these podcasts and both the WOW Women of Wrestling program, please feel free to leave your comments wherever you are available to leave comments, whether that be YouTube or sending them over to me directly or on Facebook. I appreciate those and I like reading those on the air to help spark some further debate. But you can also take advantage of our poll, which this week has gone up by 10%. This is for, like I said, episode 5 in the WOW universe. I don't know if they even officially use it as WOW universe, but you understand what I mean. 88% loved the show. 12% did not. I'm actually somewhat shocked the percentage there that somebody actually went on and said they didn't like it. Or maybe if you're out there and you're listening, you're supporting the democratic process. I don't know, but it seems like it did change at least by one or two people as far as the vote is concerned. But still, overall, more people like the show than not. If you want your voice to be heard as far as it relates to our poll, you got two ways to do that. You can go on Facebook and you'll do the poll there. I'll try to put that up along with the episode reviews once a week now. At least that is the effort. And also on the annotation on the YouTube videos, there's a little link that you can click right there at the top right corner of the video. It'll pop up at some point that says, you can take the poll now. Whether I thought the show was great or I thought it sucked, you just click it and then you're done. That moves it on. It won't even break stride of what you're doing. So yeah, if you want to help get some sort of idea of how many people like or loathe, if it as it were, WoW, that's one of the best ways you can do it right here. So I'm increasingly impressed with what they have done, considering that I have watched WoW from its inception back in 2000 up until today. Now, the show has changed drastically since then in terms of venue, in terms of cast, which obviously, because you're almost looking at 20 years at this point. But production, which is another obvious point because technology's changed and what have you. But the presentation and who they've hired and all that stuff, and it continues to show. This episode is no different. There's probably a couple little nitpicky points I have, but I will put that out with the caveat that I understand what WoW is trying to do versus your average wrestling program that you might find on, say, YouTube or whatever. So the show starts off with the cold open, main event recap of the story of Jungle Girl, The Beast, and Tessa Blanchard. Basically, it's showing how we've got to this point where these three are tied somewhat neck and neck. I mean, let's excuse the fact that Tessa Blanchard is the champion at this point, but they're somewhat tied neck and neck in the run for being the top person in the company. So they do a wonderful job of the recaps. They do an excellent job on recaps. There's nothing that I could say about that at all. They deliver the story. There was a little less revisionist history in this particular package, and that was probably the word I was looking for the last couple of weeks. Revisionist history. When they say something like Lana Star held on the title since 2001, or Jungle Girl was undefeated since for 18 years. That it's just the wording, and I love me some Jungle Girl. I like that in this package they just portrayed her as the badass, and that's all she needs. She didn't need all that other stuff. I mean, I understand it makes it sound better, but she didn't need all that other stuff. They portrayed her up as being exactly what she is. She's the resident badass of WoW, and what I've called her from this, for some time now, she's the legacy act, and that's what she should be. She should be special. She should be the legacy of that company. She's still in magnificent shape. She could still do what she had done. So that is the real key here, and this package shows that. One thing I did find a little odd, or at least I nitpicked that, I will admit, is that it also showed the additional footage of what happened the week prior. If you looked at episode 4, you noticed that the show went off the air with Tessa Blanchard hitting Jungle Girl in the head with a briefcase, knocking her out, and the Beast kind of like, what are you doing? Why, what's happening there? And I think Tessa at that point was like, now you're welcome. That's what she said on the TV show. You're welcome. Now, in this package this week, as we open up, now we're seeing stuff that we hadn't saw in the last week, the previous show. And you're seeing the additional footage of the Beast getting the cover on Jungle Girl. Jungle Girl's knocked out. Beast goes over there kind of like, not wary about it, not wary in the sense that Jungle Girl's going to pop up, but more wary in that, why are you helping me? As towards Tessa Blanchard. And she gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. She's now beating Jungle Girl. And Tessa's outside. You're welcome. Now we got to that point. And we moved past that to the the vignette of Jungle Girl. Nah, not Jungle Girl. The Beast. Now with a contract in her hand. Now where she got the contract from, I don't know. We'll just choose suspension of disbelief. She has a contract. She knows what Tessa Blanchard is. She walks downstairs. She sees us hanging around, and she just kind of slams this contract by her head and sign the contract. We assume that is a contract for the championship match, which once the Beast leaves, Tessa Blanchard laughs off. So that is something. Now, here's the nitpicking part. I would have preferred that this last, I don't know, let's say that was 3 to 4 minutes worth of show that they cut off from the previous week. That last couple of minutes of the show, that they just say, hey guys, we're running out of TV time, which is probably true. They have a slotted amount of time that WoW has to air. But if it was running long, I mean, it's not like you can't address that any longer. Back in the days when I was watching WCW Saturday Night, and they would say that, I don't want to say constantly, but it happened more often, more than it didn't, I would think. You just had to wait. That's all there was to it. There was no, well, you can go online and see the rest of it or check out Overflow or anything like that. That didn't happen. Unless they were prior approved by the network, once they said it was going off the air, it was going off the air. It was a hard stop. Yes, it's known for coming on the air at 6:05, but it also ends at 7:05. Hard stop. And if not 7:05, 8:05 if they gave it 2 hours that week. And once you hit that, okay, we're done. End of story. But here in this day and age with this technology, there's no reason that WoW management or the creators of that couldn't have said, hey, we're running out of TV time. Go check us out on our Facebook page and get the results of this match, or something along those lines, or go to our website, WOWE, whatever, I think it's a .com, and watch the end result of the match. Because here, we're finding out the match actually did end. If you was basing it solely off of what you saw last week, it would look like another no contest. So okay, come on, man. I say you can do a little better than that. Just let's get a pinfall in here, and they did, but we didn't see that, so it gives a little bit of a false read that they didn't include this. And like I said, I would think at this stage it wouldn't be that difficult to do, unless somebody there is like, I don't want to run it on our social media. I just want it to be on TV. Now, if that's the case, then that's their prerogative. But I would prefer, and I'll say I would prefer that it would actually give you something beforehand, and you just pick it up from that next week. The second segment has I shouldn't say the second segment. Part of this same segment, once we come out of the recap, is Tessa Blanchard going into Dave McClain's office, which basically sets the stage of us as the viewer now understanding that there's potentially some sort of barter agreement between Tessa Blanchard and Sophia Lopez, and that they are somehow manipulating the system in order to handpick her own opponents. And because Dave McClain's in there, I don't know how y'all are doing it, but I know that you're doing it, and this, that, and the other. And and that in and of itself, I have no problem with that storyline. And it's been done like a lot of things in wrestling and entertainment. It's not new. It's fine. It works for me. The thing that I did have a problem with, well, let's rewind this back here a second. Let's clear this segment off. Because as she walks in and, confronts Dave McClain, and he's going on about, I know that y'all are manipulating this. I don't know how you're doing it, but you did it. Tessa basically turns to him and says, look, We haven't done anything. I haven't done anything, and I'll tell you what. I will take on the next person that walks through that door, and more or less saying that just to prove a point. So the next person that walks through the door is Reyna Reyes, who Knox comes on the end, and then Tessa's like, okay, there you go. There's your main event. And she walks off. Now when she leaves, Dave McClain looks at Reyes like, Reyes, what are you doing here? And she's like, well, you called for me. They're like, and David's going, who told you that? And now we as the viewer are hearing Sophia Lopez stopped me in the hall and sent me on there. So it's being unfolded that Sophia Lopez, Tessa Blanchard have some sort of agreement to help manipulate who's getting title shots and who is not. It would seem. The only issue I have with this is that some of it, in my view, doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, maybe it will unveil itself as making sense later on down the line. But as of right now, as of this moment that we are finding out that they are manipulating the system, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because I think back to, I guess episode 2, where she accepted some money and we got the match between Tessa Blanchard and Serpentine. Thunder Rosa, for those of you that are not familiar. And I'm not sure. I was like, well, why would she then be paired off and working with the same person to do this? Much less, and I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but much less to pick somebody who would be a credible threat to my championship. If I'm playing the heel, and I'm playing the heel in the role of I am handpicking my own opponents, the last thing that I want to do is pick somebody who could potentially beat me. That doesn't make a terrible amount of sense to me, but what can I say? And like I said, it may unveil itself as the seasons roll on. I would certainly hope so, because if it ends with this, then it's like that's nonsensical. So we have that. We know how this is going on. Segment 2. Jungle Girl opens up the show with a promo, which recaps the entire idea of why she is Jungle Girl. I love this. Why do I love this? Because despite the fact that she lost a week earlier, she comes out in a traditional wrestling style and gives you every reason why she is still the number one girl, despite the fact that she got beat. It took 2 of you to beat me. I've been doing this a long time. I've been tearing through this thing, and when you see the recap, I mean, yes, the match showed the Beast being dominant at points, but she as the heel, and I guess she's going full heel now, has come in and pretty much erased that. Like, what are you talking about? No, I didn't lose. It took 2 of them to beat me. It took the Beast, which is the biggest, baddest girl here, and it took a steel briefcase being swung by Tessa Blanchard to knock me out. So it is not difficult for us as the viewer to understand the point that she's getting across, because she has made it crystal clear. Now, she's doing it from her perspective, but it still works. It still absolutely works that she can do that. And then she goes on to say, hey, if you want to have Tessa in your corner, then go ahead and do that. Just go ahead and bring her out there from the get-go. And if you could do it the other way around, Tessa, if you want Beast in your corner, then you do that. So now she's, the arrogance is starting to bleed back out. The commentators are carrying on about it. So I guess it's an official turn that Jungle Girl is going back to being heel. And when I say going back, I'm talking years ago, but she has officially taken the heel role here, which is fine. I have no issue with it. Although a lot of them seem to just be showing up in shades of gray. Jungle Girl, Tessa Blanchard, the Beast, they all seem to be showing up in some level of gray. In my view, because I don't know if they're going clear cut heel just yet. At least not in the case of Jungle Girl. But she does that. In my view, she stays strong despite the loss, and pretty much just says, all right, bring someone out here. So now we got match 1. We got Sassy Massey versus Jungle Girl, Alicia Edwards, or at least. Sassy is positioned as the clear babyface. Now that is one thing that there's no mistaking that. She's the babyface here. But Jungle Girl is also all business. And after Sassy Massey's offense, Jungle Girl comes out at a 1 count. Not even stay down for a 2. And it shows, in my view, that's a subtle thing, but it shows just how, we're going to keep Jungle Girl strong. And she did that. She remained strong just in something simple. Like, you give me this flurry, and she's practically got her shoulder up before the 1 count came down. Almost. So it works for me. One of the big spots there, and again, this kind of shows that strength of Jungle Girl. There was an attempt at a wheelbarrow bulldog from Sassy Massey, which, of course, she runs in, turns around, hooks the body scissors, and then hooks the head. Boom, there's your bulldog out of a wheelbarrow. But Jungle Girl managed to turn that body scissors into a German suplex and shows that strength advantage. Sassy Massey did, however, get one in a little bit later on, but it wasn't enough. Jungle Girl ultimately hits her with a jungle driver and then goes up for the splash. Now, one thing, and I know as far as her wrestling talent is concerned, this won't make a difference, but it should be noted that physically speaking, Jungle Girl is a larger, more, arguably more powerful woman. So there was a little element of fighting an uphill battle as related to Sassy Massey. And I will say this, as because I still have it's still weird for me to be like Sassy Massey. That's just kind of a cartoony name. However, and she isn't the only one. Let me get that out there. But despite the name, I have to say that Alicia Edwards, Kara Hogan, Diamante, some of the other girls in there who have had what some fans have called gimmicky names, or those kind of old wild names and old characters that they used to like to throw out there all the time. Well, I don't know if I've seen anybody able to make it work like they have. Alicia Edwards in this particular case, because it's not as if she came out doing the whole I'm from Boston and all stuff like that. She didn't play up some weird character about it. Everything I got from them is just the name. It's just the name and the outfit. They've done it. They acknowledged that she wrestled on the independents. So I mean I'm good with that. And how many times can I say it? In certain instances, I think it's going to be very difficult to have a bad match. Here's one where I was like, this is going to be very difficult for them to have a bad match. Both of them are pretty well schooled outside of the wild confines. And I know that some people like, well, wild girls wrestle fine, and that might be, but they just overall don't all have the experience level because it's been in one facility. And even the best trainers will tell you that. It's like you got to leave at some point. You got to leave just because the next guy might see something that the first one didn't. And, even if it's a promoter or what have you, they're gonna look at you like, hey, well, that's great. I saw your stuff and you do this, but here's a little something I want to add to that. And things like that help you grow. So I know Alicia has traveled around. I know Erica Porter, a.k.a. Jungle Girl, traveled around. So I expected the best out of this from the moment I saw it. In any case, Jungle Girl now does the heel thing after she connects with the first splash. She gets up there. She refuses the pin. She goes for the pin, pulls her hair up, and she's like, all right, I'm going to do it again. So she goes up, hits a second splash off the top rope. Same deal. Going for the cover, 1, 2, pulls the hair up. Nope, do it again. And the commentator's going on about, she looked like she's trying to make a point. And she may have, but here is where I guess the heel shines through, in that Chantilly Celli came in to try to save her partner. Well, Jungle Girl essentially just laid her out too, popped her in the face, gave her the jungle driver, and brought them both over to the middle of the ring to give a high splash. Now, I don't know if they cut it out of the show or whatever the case would be, but I thought it would have been cool if Jungle Girl had actually done it. Because she'd already, they threw the match out. I'm not a big fan of the no contest thing, but they already threw it out. I would have liked to have seen it. It's like, if you're going to keep building her and portraying her as this badass that she can take on the world, then why not? Why not have had her go up for that last time to the top rope, fly over the referees, and nail both Chinchilla and Sassy simultaneously? Now, the only downside that I would see with that is that I would tend to believe it might hurt some of the equity in that tag team. But that's open for debate. But I didn't get their whole idea for the no contest thing again. It's like let's avoid some of that. Segment 4, we got a voiceover with Lana Starr putting up a sign over Jesse Jones' locker room sign to fool the Dixie Darlings. Now, this is the first time that we're getting the opportunity to even see the Dixie Darlings, and it's in a backstage vignette. They're going into what they believe is their locker room, which essentially gets them to walk into Jesse Jones and Amber O'Neal because they're, pretty much just kind of chilling out on their downtime. This sets up a match. I guess long term it sets up a match because it didn't set up anything here. I mean, you got the Dixie Darlings and it introduced them, but I don't know how flattering it is for them to be introduced this way, particularly what we find out about them later on, going forward, because here they walk into the place, they're fooled by Lana Starr, who puts a sign up there. Then they're immediately kicked out of that same locker room that they were fooled into, and then they step into the ring with the Monsters of Madness. So, it just seemed a bit much to me. Maybe I've overthought it. Feel free to leave your personal comments below. Maybe you can provide a different outlook on that. So, the Lana Starr voiceover that happens at the beginning, again, we do not see her. We just see her hands putting the sign up on the wall over Jesse Jones' sign. So we would tend to believe that this is some revenge angle, but I think I said it when they wrestled the first time. I was like, this is a heel versus heel thing. Yeah, you could do it, but really? In any case, we have that, and it looks as if this goes around the Dixie Darlings and just goes into a feud with Lana Starr, or at least the feud with Lana and Faith Alliance will continue. It's probably the best way to put that. Segment 5 recaps the feud between Abilene Maverick and Steffi Slays, right up to the point where Abilene Maverick has faked injury to get out of having a match with Slays. And this time is no different. She comes out the ringside with her neck brace on and carrying on about, I can't do this. I'm hurt. I'm legitimately hurt. And then she starts dropping the smart and I got somebody that can replace me that'll learn you something, and the little puns based on their names, which here it worked. Here it worked. I will give it that. It worked in this context because you have somebody that's tossing out the hints of who it is that Slays may be facing, which she did face because the disciplinarian came in from behind and double axe handled her in the back. Now, keep in mind that Slays had beaten the disciplinarian already, so it makes sense to me that she would want to come in there and be the one to attack her on your behalf because she had been beaten by Steffi Slays. And not only has she been beaten by Steffi Slays, she's the only person who had been beaten by Steffi Slays. The disciplinarian on record right now is the only person who has ever lost to Steffi Slays. So now we are still building towards this ultimate showdown between Abilene Maverick and Steffi Slays at some point. I guess she will get her comeuppance eventually. But today was not the day as it was. It was the disciplinarian substituting for Abilene Maverick, who, quite frankly, has chilled out on wrestling in general, at least as it relates to the independent circuit. I did mention that in the previous podcast. For those who are maybe a new listener, Barbie Hayden, who is Abilene Maverick on the WOW roster, has made it official that she, outside of WOW, she is no longer accepting booking dates. She's pretty much given wrestling a rest, or at least independent wrestling a rest. So, I guess it should be pointed out that Abilene also goes to the commentary booth, and they are kind of riding her about, you've lied about this before. You lied about your knee being hurt. Why should we believe you now? And of course, she's playing up the heel thing. I'm hurt. I was in a skiing accident and blah blah blah. Other than the fact that Samantha Smart pops Slays like 1 or 2 times, I think you got a fairly fair win from the disciplinary. She picks up Slays, hoists her into a TKO position, which is basically a diamond cutter outside of a fireman's carry. Boom, 1, 2, 3. The TKO puts Slays out, and there we have it. Samantha Smart gets on the mic. She cuts a promo. She is carrying on about her being the IQ superior to everyone's IQ inferior. I've been waiting on them to do some sort of promos with her so we can kind of get an idea of what was going on. I guess the promo was fine. It didn't seem to go anywhere. It didn't, it didn't seem to serve any purpose, at least to me, other than the fact that, hey, I'm IQ superior and, you people are entertained and yada, yada, yada. I would have preferred something that would at least kind of pushed the disciplinarian forward. That's the job. Your manager, your job is to get your client over it. So I would prefer her talking about her, if anything. But that didn't happen, so it was just something to hear her talk, I guess. I'll put it this way. It was not nearly the amount of emotion that I got out of the Jungle Girl promo, not last week or this week. Jungle Girl seems like a far better promo, and I don't know how much of Smart's stuff was written, whether they said, hey, we'll just give you a script and go out there and read it, because there's always the danger of that these days. There's always the danger of just scripting somebody out a little bit too much. But it was a promo that, like I said, to me, it didn't serve any purpose other than let's just have her talk. Segment 7, we got another Siren vignette pushing the Princess Aussie's story along. Holiday was still wandering around in the background. Nina Monet has always been an exceptionally good talker. And for those of you who don't know, I'm talking about Siren is being portrayed by Nina Monet, and she still wrestles under that name on the independent circuit. When I first met her and when she was part of the tag team, probably with the partner that she would not like me to bring up at this point, but if you wanted to get a promo out of that team, that she was the one that you should go to. She was always good at if you just gave her some bullet points and, hey, I need to talk about this, fine. She could just fire it out. So it's not surprising to me at all that she would be good in this scenario either. She plays up the Voodoo Queen very well, or the Voodoo Doll on WOW very well, because she also has that outside of WOW. So, I mean, this all feels very second nature, like she could do it, it's like knowing the back of your hand or whatever the case may be. The only thing that I didn't get with this thing, because it comes off well, it's shot well, the vignettes do well, they always have. She's doing her, her spooky rhyme, and you can kind of get what was in between the words. You can kind of be like, okay, is she inviting her over to the dark side? Are they trying to convert her? I mean, that was my first guess when they kidnapped her 2 weeks ago. It was, what's happening here? Are they trying to make a voodoo slave out of her? Something, you know what I mean? But there's been no clear-cut version of that. The voodoo thing does keep the storyline going, but it's also like, well, man, this woman got kidnapped on wild television. Is nobody gonna make any effort to try to get her? I mean, in the kayfabe universe of WoW, if this was all real, wouldn't somebody back there try to get her? I mean, does she not have any friends? Nobody in the locker room care enough to be like, we need to go find this woman. She's been gone for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And nobody knows where she is. Nobody's got a ransom note. There hasn't been any cut and dry explanation. They haven't called the police. Nothing. It's just Princess Aussie's gone. That's it. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. We as a viewer, you still don't know why she was kidnapped. I mean, like I said, it's kind of vague as to why she's kidnapped. You still don't know what's heading towards, the reason, what the goal line is her being kidnapped is. We can guess. Like I said, my best guess is that she's going to be kind of roped into their world or something along those lines. But no, man, somebody, at least a tag team partner, should have said, hey, can we do something here or whatever the case may be. But nope, nothing, not at all. Nina Modet does a great job. I just still do not understand what's happening. That's probably the best thing I can say about it. She does a phenomenal job with what she's doing. I just still do not understand where this is going. And hey, I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to look at it, but just keep that in mind. Maybe just give a couple of seconds of thought on that. If this were real, shouldn't somebody have done something by now? Segment 8, the Monsters of Madness. That Havoc and Hazard taking on the debut team of the Dixie Darlings. If you did not see this match, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's a match that you can skip. This is a total squash. Now it's good in this regard because I'll admit I miss a good squash match every once in a while, because the whole purpose behind a squash match on Saturdays back in the day was to get the person that was doing the squashing over. All they needed was a showcasing of their moves. The other person in the ring was just a body, and it got you a way to beat somebody up without your star having to suffer for it, or without another star in the roster having to suffer for it. And that's pretty much what you got here. The Dixie Darlings came in and they did the job. They were beaten, and not just beaten, they were beaten handily. So nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying if you have to skip it because it's bad. I'm saying if you're pressed for time or whatever the case may be, the outcome is clear for the moment that they walk into that ring. You're not missing anything is what I'm saying. Havoc and Hazard were going to win that match the second I saw the Dixie Darlings walk up on that apron. And that's exactly what they did. They just beat them up, plowed through them, pinned them, and then they cut a promo at the end. So as far as the Monsters of Madness are concerned, they've done their job. And I believe that this was also another round in the very vague tag team tournament that WoW is doing. And here's another part for that. How on earth did the Dixie Darlings even get in this tournament? They weren't even a part of the company when it was announced. Like, what? How did that even occur? Why? I mean, it was nice, I guess. It was a nice, easy win, but you would think that the tag team tournament, that we're going to reach out to the best tag teams we have. Now, if I'm basing it off of this match, they weren't that good. They got beaten up and eliminated quickly. So, I don't know. And if we're going to talk about the tag team and the tag team tournament, or we need to, or as they call it, the tag team series, then let's go over some of the people who have advanced and some, because this is the only way that you can kind of narrow this down, because 5 weeks in and we still have no brackets, we have no announcements of teams or any of that stuff like that. So you just have to kind of piece it together as you go. So we've had Lana Star and Faith Alliance eliminated by Amber O'Neal and Jesse Jones, Grits and Glam. They have advanced. The Monsters of Madness advanced this week over the Dixie Darlings, so we got 2 teams in. Sassy Massey and Chantilly Chella, they both, despite getting brutalized earlier in the show, previously in the tag team series, they both advanced, defeating Abilene Maverick and the Disciplinarian. Siren the Voodoo Doll and Holiday advanced over the Bully Busters, which was, another kind of, we'll put them together for a night, but beyond that, there's nothing happening there. The Psycho Sisters, I believe they were the first ones to advance in this series. And they advanced over Princess Aussie and Reyna Reyes. And those are all so we got 5 teams. We have 5 teams right now who have all advanced towards going to the next round, which is uneven. But I do believe that there is another match that's coming up, because we did hear that Fire and Adrenaline have announced themselves as we're going into the tag team tournament. Now, the question here is who is left for them to take on? I asked that question last week. It's getting, I guess, a little easier to kind of pick through. The only team that I see that is left for them to go against would be the Vengeful Vixens, Dagger and Temptress. That they could get in the ring with them. They are already an established tag team, and clearly, if you're just a tag team, that's reason enough to be able to get in. Or it could be Nikki Krampus and Serpentine, perhaps led by Sophia Lopez, because one thing I have noticed is that we've got a lot of shades of gray as far as these matches are concerned. Just, you don't necessarily have a babyface and a heel all the time. Just, who happens to be up against each other, I guess. But those are the only ones. I mean, unless we're going to go with Teal Piper, who hasn't made her debut yet, or Chloe Hertz, and I haven't seen her back. I believe that's all the people I can think of. So, or if they're going to bring some other outside team in just to fluff it up. But if we get this next bracket, let's just assume that it'll be Fire and Adrenaline versus the Vengeful Vixens, Dagger and Temptress. If we get this next match, then we will have 6 teams in the finals, or not the finals, but we'll have 6 teams that they can proceed from that point on and kind of bracket out. Although I wish they would bracket them out. They're not unveiling any of that. But who says they got to do stuff because I want it, right? So here we go. Dixie Darlings squashed. Next segment, segment 9, video package on Reyna Reyes, which same thing as the last time I saw it do it. It was very good. Very good package, and I take WOW for what it is. I understand that the presentation for their show is very different than some wrestling programs out there right now. If you're listening to this now, then you would know that NWA Power has already aired on YouTube. And it is a very old school studio feel to it. And there's not a lot of cutting away from stuff. This is kind of a catch the action as you catch the action type deal. I bring that up to say WOW is the opposite of that. It's very much a TV show, and it shows. Yes, they have the matches, and the matches have been pretty good up to this point, I have to say, especially this one I'm about to talk about. But aside from that, we know that the presentation is going to be a little bit more doctored than most of the wrestling programs out here. Why? Because they can, I guess. But as long as you know that, as long as you accept it, as long as you're good with it, then this is an enjoyable show. Like, it's very easy to watch. Commercials aside, you got an hour to kind of get in and get out of it. Not a big deal, especially for a wrestling program. These days we're dealing with 2 and 3 hours on the regular, so an hour worth of wrestling is, very digestible. And so we go back around to what was promoted in the first segment of the show. The main event, Reyna Reyes takes on Tessa Blanchard. I put in my notes when this match started, why set up Reyes? I personally did not get that. If for no other reason than this. And again, we got to put on our kayfabe hat and kind of look at it through the eyes of if this were legit and if it was real. Why put somebody in the ring that is going to give me a difficult time? If I am the person that's manipulating this, then why would I do this? I don't understand that. Especially after having watched the match. I just did not get it. It didn't make a lot of sense to me because it was a good match. If you don't look at anything else here, I mean, you should enjoy this main event. The main event was kick-ass, and I couldn't expect the two of them not to be able to do it. Tessa Blanchard, that speaks for itself. She's exceptionally good. Probably does not get the credit that she deserves, quite frankly, as it relates to some of the wrestling world. I mean, I'm sure she'll get it now just because she's in with a network that can help promote it. She may not get the promotional machine that her colleague, her next generation 4-horsewoman colleague, Charlotte gets, because that's what the WWE does. They're just an over the top marketing machine. But I don't think she gets the credit that she deserves for being as good as she is, and she is very good. Here with Reyes, Jaless Shaw, she showed that she showed me something also. She showed me how good she is, and this is one of the first times I really had a chance to see her perform at this level, and she performed at a high level in this match. She had a great flurry of offense just from the get-go that was cut off by Blanchard. And I see that Reyes she's not portrayed as a high flyer, but she has a pretty high-flying offense. She did a sky twister from the top rope to the floor. And then came back in and splashed Blanchard again. It was pushing to the point where Reyes only not got the 3 count because Blanchard was too close to the ropes. She grabbed the ropes and she broke up the pin. She did a Spanish fly to Tessa Blanchard. And I mean, it was just phenomenal. I'm hesitant to say performance. It was a phenomenal match between the two of them. And it is, again, this is the part that made me feel like, well, why did she pick this woman? Because she is like barely surviving. If you're the champion and I'm having some sort of control, so to speak, over who I'm wrestling, why would I do this? And then the other side of that equation is this much. I remember reading an article in the PWI magazine back in the day, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, for those of you that don't know. And well, first off, let's just make it clear that those articles back then were just made up fluff. They just, they wanted to sell magazines. But the stories was pretty good, even though they weren't legit. They were working too. But I remember one where they had Ric Flair, and this is the early 90s, and he was gifting title shots to Elegante. Because Elegante was the new big monster on the block. And they're like, well, I want to wrestle him. And now remember, this is all in the magazine. This is not on TV, so don't nobody go trying to run and look it up. So, but they were talking about the house show run that they were having, because Flair had a series of matches with Elegante, which he either had broken up by the Horseman or, Elegante won't break the hold or something like that. The logic of that being is that when he was actually becoming good, he being Ric Flair, can always turn around and say, like, well, look, I already gave him his title shots. He didn't get anything. I gave him 30 championship matches in a row on the house show circuit. If he couldn't beat me then, he's going to have to earn his way back up. So now that logic, I could say could apply here, where Tessa's like, well, I've already beaten this person, so why would I turn around and then give them another one? I didn't matter how bad it was. But again, in my view, it doesn't make a terrible heap of sense. If I were going to do the whole deal as the champion, like, hey, I'll take on the next person that comes to the door, and I'm going to manipulate who comes to the door, then I'm going to get on the person that has clearly been established as as not in her caliber. We'll put it that way. I don't want to say anything mean. We would grab somebody that's not her caliber. We'd grab a Steffi Slays, or we grab one of the Dixie Darlings, or somebody that she can go in there and just have a field day with. Not Reyes, because Reyes pushed her to the absolute limit. I mean, Tessa looked like she barely escaped with her title. That being, she tries to go for the Diamond DDT, and Reyes does a great counter of that, almost gets the pinfall, but she pops right back up, and Tessa goes for that Diamond DDT a second time, hits it, boom, 1, 2, 3, and I retain after being bounced around all over this ring and seeing how bad the Reyes is good. I mean, how bad she's good. What kind of sense does that make? Let me try that again. Seeing how good Reyes is. I don't know why I said that. That just came out all wrong. But seeing how good she is in the ring, seeing that Spanish fly for the top rope, the sky twister press, all of these things that she could do, how athletic she is, there is absolutely zero reason that she should be like, hey, I'll give her a rematch, or whatever the case would be. She should be going to Dave McClain like, no, we or not Dave McClain. She should be going to Sophia Lopez like, that plan didn't work. almost lost here. That something, because that clearly couldn't have been anybody's plan. If it was, it wasn't a good one. And on the other side of that, Reyes should be saying, you know what? I think I deserve a title shot. And I can see that now. I can see, just based on this performance alone, like, she deserves a championship shot. I mean, just think about it in the terms of, this is all supposed to take place within the course of the hour. And the way that they sold it on commentary is that, well, she just got informed about this at the top of the show, or something like that. And she didn't have time to prepare for Tessa Blanchard. All right, so fine. Here's this woman who does this amazing job in the ring with Tessa on less than 50 minutes notice that she's getting a championship match. And she comes within a hair of winning the match. Does she not deserve a rematch where she can actually adequately prepare for getting in there with Tessa Blanchard and facing her on a level playing field? If anything, I would say that should push Reyes up to up into that upper tier where she could be one of those people like, hey, look, I think I got a legitimate claim here too. I want to go after the title. I doubt that'll happen, but it feels like that was where it should go, just based on this alone. But I know Jungle Girl and the Beast are going to remain the top contenders for this title for the time being. It feels like it is going to be a three-way race, at least for a short while. We've already weeded off Havoc. Havoc has, unless something changes, she's shifted gears. They've had the tag team match. Now she's in the tag team tournament. So she still has potential to walk away with gold with her new partners. I can't really see them just breaking them up just for the sake of Havoc getting another single shot. Even though she plays a great monster, they have a beast. So I don't think that's going to be something that they need until they need it, where the beast needs somebody to go against that could put her in jeopardy again. So there we have it. Those are the thoughts for that particular match. Now, bear in mind, this match also ended with the return of Jungle Girl. She comes back out to get even after Tessa just barely wins that match. Here comes Jungle Girl and attacks Tessa afterwards. dropping her on the mat, and then coming down off the top rope, delivering that big splash, her finish, to the ribs of Tessa Blanchard. She picks up the belt, walks over to her, drops it on her ribs, and more or less the announcers at this point are saying that was Jungle Girl's way of saying that she's next. Now, we've had Jungle Girl be avoided by Tessa Blanchard throughout this thing because she being Jungle Girl, asked for one-on-one matches, and Tessa has not decided to oblige that as of yet. This could be the setup for that. But it also sets another thing back up with the Beast. Because after that, we have the cameras follow Jungle Girl, and she goes into the locker room. She just walks right on in, and she sees the Beast, and they're squaring up with each other face to face, and then that breaks down. It breaks down to a shove from the Beast, a shove from Jungle Girl, a smack here and there, and then the next thing you know, Jungle Girl's driving the Beast through a door into the shower area of the locker room. And then we go off the air. So it's a lot that's going on. I mean, I like the idea that the World's Championship, wherever you have a World's Championship, is being chased after by not just one person at a time, but multiple people that make that title feel important. It's like, hey, I want a shot. No, I want a shot. So I like that. I like that the champion, even though, like I said, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, has put on some definitive wins in her match. Although I would like to see some level of line drawn in the sand. Like, is she babyface or is she heel? I don't really get Tessa's presentation at times, because I know that she comes off as the arrogant heel. I know she more often than not is presented as a heel, but it's hard to boo somebody when they don't really cheat. Tessa doesn't cheat often, if at all. She doesn't have anybody do anything for her on the outside or back up and run or do anything cowardly. I mean, it becomes really difficult. Beyond her attitude, it's hard to dislike her. In my view. Now, I think it works fine. It worked great in this particular episode because there was no straddling the fence as far as the persons that they put her in the ring with. Before, it was an Amber O'Neal, which was a heel versus heel thing. It was a Havoc, which is a heel versus heel thing. It was Serpentine, which potentially was heel versus heel, even though the crowd made Serpentine babyface. Those things were, somewhat open to debate. Here, it was clear Reyes was the babyface there. They wanted her to be babyface as she should have been the babyface. So it all worked out in that regard. I just would like to see a little bit more definition out of that. I'm still not entirely sure where Jungle Girl is with her transformation. I think that she is going heel, but and we're basing that off of the actions that she did during her match. But we also have to take into account that she has a valid point. It's not like Jungle Girl is making these things up. I mean, it would be if she just got to the point where it was unreasonable and it drove her into being a heel, or doing more dastardly stuff. I could certainly see the heel turn there. But as it stands right now, aside from her being aggressive, she hasn't done anything that I would really consider out of not the norm, but she hasn't done anything that isn't unjustifiable. She got up in Tessa's face. Tessa attacked her last week. She hit in the head with a briefcase, and not only did Jungle Girl not attack her until the following week to get even, which was perfectly within her right. She waited until after the match. She didn't cost her the match to do it. She didn't come in there and hit her and get her pinned so she get a quick shot at Reyes as being a champion or anything like that. She let well enough alone. Let her have the match and then beat her up there. So it's hard for me to boo her as well. The Beast is still straddling the fence also. I mean, I think she's more babyface than heel at this point. but there's a lot of shades of gray. That's probably the best way that I can put it. There's a lot of shades of gray happening here. And whether it works for you or not is a different issue. I've shared my thoughts, I've shared my opinions, and my review of the entirety of this show. So what say you? I mean, I don't have any comments to really go over this week. So I will say, if you have them, leave them in the comment section below, or send me a text, or not text, send me a DM on Facebook, or message me, Mr. Green at Hotmail75. Did I get that right? I think I put my numbers on the wrong thing. Okay, let's try that again. Message me at Mr. Green75 at hotmail.com. There we go. Mr. Green75 at hotmail.com. And you can get your questions, comments in, and I'll read them on the air and address them. We can have our discussion that way. So I think that's going to do it. So to recap here, for future podcasts, you can get this wherever greater podcasts are available to you. But you can also go to WPNWrestling.com. That's WPNWrestling.com, and you can go and get to the nexus of everything that we produce. Everything. The 24-hour stream of all the footage and the podcasts, the pictures, the articles, the blogs. It is all there. And you can just go and scroll around to your heart's content. You will be able to find, and you'll be able to subscribe. And you can send messages to me there too. I'm just all sorts of good stuff that you can do via the Women's Pro Wrestling Network website. And upcoming, just for those, if you haven't checked it out by now, it should be available. I will make a quick plug for the Black Widow versus Ruthless Lala. That's a nice, hard-hitting match. If you haven't seen it yet, you should pop on the WPN, the Women's Pro Wrestling Network YouTube channel, and that will be available for you to watch, along with a plethora of other matches. All you got to do is go down the line. I think we have 75 matches strong right now, and still making the march toward 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. We appreciate every single one of you, because, like I said, if you're not helping monetarily, the subscriptions and the notifications of the bell of said subscription helps immensely. It means the difference between, I want to say staying around and not, but that's pretty close, because these are what advertisers and other interested parties look at. They want to know that people are actually listening to and paying attention to your content. So thank you very much to all of you. I really, truly appreciate it. And that's it, folks. That is going to do it for me. This is Mr. Green saying that was a wonderful review. Leave your vote in the poll, both here on YouTube and on our Facebook. Let me know what you thought of the show. And before I close this up, if you happen to be one of those 12% that are voting no that I didn't like the show, tell me why. I just need to know. Tell me why. Why is it that you didn't like the show? What is it that it did that just did not work for you? Was it the pacing? Was it the people? I mean, what? Just tell me what there didn't work that made you vote no. Okay? So if that, time to wrap this thing up, close up the shop, and tell you that this is Mr. Green saying that this is Mr. Green saying so long, everybody, and we will see you on the next go round.